Welcome, friends, it's the Movie Film Podcast. Movie Film Podcast, enjoy the show. Zachy and Brian are talking about movies. Movie Film Podcast on the radio.
Welcome to Movie Film. This is episode 217. It is February. My name is Zachy Hassan. I'm here with Brian Hall.
Hey, how's it going, Zachy?
What's happening?
What is happening now? Remember that?
That was the syndicated sequel to What's Happening.
Oh, I didn't know that it was a syndicated deal. That was always on when I would come home from school.
That was the less funny sequel to What's Happening. That's my memory of that show anyway.
Oh, funny. I didn't even remember the difference.
That was, I mean, when you think about it, that was like the Saved by the Bell Peacock series.
Oh, that is so weird. See, I have no context for it in that way. That's funny to know that now.
Right?
I was
because
just like,
you
hey,
never
it's
watched,
on TV.
You never watched What's Happening, the original?
I did. I don't know if they were airing all of them, sort of like they would do with Saved by the Bell with Miss Bliss and then the current season. And
yeah.
I don't know.
I think What's Happening now got lumped in with the syndication package of the original show.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But at the time, you would think, it's like, oh, hey, Raj and Rerun and Dwayne, they're back, you know?
Mm-hmm.
What are they up to? And it's like, and then, you know, the parents then are like, oh, we got to follow these new characters we don't care about, you know?
Right. That's hilarious.
Do you wonder if, like, parents in the late 80s, mid to late 80s, like, viewed the new Leave It to Beaver with anticipation,
anticipation, yeah, like we do for some of these shows, yeah.
You know, I was thinking about that because they had the promo for the new Punky Brewster coming up,
yeah,
and I'm like, that is a show that is aimed at a very narrow slice of a demographic.
Yeah, and it's funny because speaking of narrow, I mean, I should be in there, but I didn't watch that show, so I'm not even included in that. You know, so it's a very specific pinpoint timeline or era. I mean,
the thing I was thinking about is, you know, how a lot of these shows, it's like, here's the original character for you old folks, and then, you know, here's like the new generation of characters for the younger generation to follow, right? Mm-hmm. But I was like, the show is called Punky Brewster.
Right.
Like you're locked in.
Yep.
Like this is about single mom Punky Brewster wearing, you know, two shoes of two different colors because that's what Punky does. It was quirky back then. Now it's an indication of some mental health issue, possibly. We don't know. This is what we're going to figure out.
Yeah. Well, it seems to be working in some cases, right? I mean, Saved by the Bell got a second season.
But see, that's what I'm saying. Saved by the Bell, yeah, but it's the school. It's the kids.
Sure.
See,
Yeah.
We get you get a little bit of the Slater and whatnot, but you know, it's about these new people. You know,
it's kind of that perfect evolution.
It is, you know. As I said a couple months ago, I mean, I had no expectations, and I was very pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
But hey, as we dwell on things we've seen recently, what have you seen?
You know, I was saying to you before we started, I'm surprised at how little I've been watching. But I think, I don't know, it's just been TV or reading or whatever it's been. But I did watch The King of Staten Island, which was Judd Apatow's latest movie. You know, he lately it seems like he finds a comedian that he likes their personality and sort of crafts a semi-autobiographical movie around them, right? With, you know, Amy Schumer and I guess Seth Rogen wasn't very autobiographical, but... and then now this one was with Pete Davidson, and this was one of those movies that was supposed to be I think a July release last year, 2020, which obviously didn't happen. So it was one of the first movies in my memory, a major film that was supposed to be a theatrical release where they made it available to rent, but for a premium price for, you know, $20.
Right.
And I remember thinking at the time, I'll wait for HBO. Because I was like, I don't really feel compelled to spend $20 on this, and sure enough, it was on HBO, so I checked it out one night, and
you're glad you waited?
You know what? No, actually, yes, I am glad I waited, but I enjoyed it. Okay, I was a little surprised. I went in knowing low stakes, didn't pay for it. I can always turn the channel, but I was surprised that I liked it. I thought it was like a nice, chill, laid back, sweet movie. And I thought, I definitely think your feelings on Pete Davidson are going to come into play. I mean, if you find him, I think if you don't like him, maybe it'll be too much of him.
He tends to spark strong opinion. He's like pineapple on pizza, Pete Davidson.
Yes, he is. He is. And I do not care very much or pay much attention to the gossipy details of his life. I just don't care. But like as a presence on SNL, I mean, I think he would even himself admit he's a bit limited in his range. But what he does, I think he does well.
Sure.
And I just find him an endearing guy. And I think it was the WTF podcast I was listening to him, and I don't know. I find him endearing. And so I like him. I enjoyed the movie. Everybody's pretty good in this. I mean, Bill Burr's really great. You know, Marissa Tomei's in it. And what I think I appreciated about it was, while it was a Judd Apatow movie, it didn't feel like a Judd Apatow movie.
Yeah.
And by that I mean, there was sort of this, and I'm a fan of his, but his movies look very, very, pretty, right? I mean, he even had Janusz Kaminski shoot Funny People. Nothing wrong with that, but it's like a look he's sort of locked into. And then there will always be these scenes where the actors are just riffing, and then it puffs out his movies to 2.5 hours or something like that. And you start to feel
the director's cut.
drain.
Yeah, the director's cut of This Is 40 is like a friggin' miniseries.
And that's interesting, because if it was then restructured like a miniseries, you might enjoy it that way. If it felt like, okay, beginning, middle, end, beginning, middle, end, beginning, middle, end, and you just keep getting pulled along. But yeah, when it's a movie and there's just one beginning, middle, and end, it wears you out. Right. And I would say that this one had way fewer of those sort of scenes. There's one in a tattoo parlor where it's very riffy, and you can tell he's just making stuff up and making fun of this guy. And then it ends and I go, oh, yeah, like didn't accomplish anything. Just kind of, but those were few and far between. And I actually did enjoy this character's sort of arc. I mean, he starts as kind of a, inward jerk, and learns to appreciate the people around him, is forced to grow. And, I found it perfectly enjoyable. When it was over, I texted my brother. I was like, I think you're going to like this.
Nice.
So I mean, it's low risk, right? It's on HBO. You can check it out. It was a nice surprise, to be honest. I enjoyed watching sort of a nice character-driven dramedy. I feel like I hadn't watched one in a while. What else did I watch? Oh, I watched Jackie Brown. Revisited Tarantino's third movie.
Yeah. And
which, when it came out, Pulp Fiction, he was like the superstar, and he's like, oh, he does this quick, witty, super violent stuff, and we know what razzle dazzle will he give us next? And instead, he delivered Jackie Brown, which was an adaptation of Elmore Leonard's Rum Punch, and it's not razzle dazzle at all. It's like very character driven. It's like his least violent movie, and it's actually very sweet also, which was, I think, surprised everyone, but it's now in hindsight become, I think, one of the movies that people tend to appreciate the most of his.
Yeah, it was definitely not beloved when it came out. I remember that.
And I was thinking about that halfway through with Pulp Fiction, which I love. It's kind of, and then he basically started a template for the rest of the decade that everyone was trying to rip off. Right. And it's kind of cool that the guy who did it was like, no. And then he did something else. Like, he could have repeated himself so many times. And I think, there's arguments to be made about the certain motifs and things that he repeats, but all his movies are very different. They're definitely pastiches of things that he loves, but
right.
They're wildly different in locations and characters and whatnot. And I really enjoyed revisiting this one. I thought it was really Pam Grier and the late great Robert Forster are so good in this movie. And
Robert Forster is amazing in that movie.
So good. He's giving this really subtle but nuanced performance that you just love the guy.
Yeah.
I can't imagine someone else doing it. I don't know that you would feel as, there's like a sweetness to everything he's doing without him having to do very much that really makes the whole movie work.
And that was, I mean, Tarantino said as much. I mean, he was somebody who just grew up like admiring Robert Forster performances. He just wanted to give him a role, you know? Mm-hmm. And he basically put gas in the tank for the rest of his life.
Yep. And then he just started appearing in a lot of things. And,
yeah.
Breaking Bad and all sorts of notable things. But, I don't have too much to say about it. But I've been meaning to revisit that since Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And I finally one night was like, oh, this is the night. I'm finally going to do this. Because I remembered liking it and that it felt different. And I just wanted to check it out again. But yeah, it was definitely a really nice revisit. I enjoyed that one.
Nice.
And then I didn't even realize I was like following a theme here. But in Jackie Brown, Pam Grier plays a flight attendant. And then my brother, for days now, he's been trying to get me to watch The Flight Attendant on HBO Max, which is Kaylee Cuoco. Is that how you say her last name?
That's correct, yeah.
Cuoco. From Big Bang Theory. This is something I think she's producing and starring in. And I knew little about it, except that people were kind of enjoying it. And without saying much, I kind of enjoyed not knowing exactly what it was about, but it's about this sort of self-destructive party girl flight attendant who stumbles into a mystery. And basically she can't help but get herself deeper and deeper into it, but she keeps making these mistakes. But what's fun about it is, even though you're yelling at her, like, don't do that. Like, they're completely understandable mistakes. Unlike some shows where, people have to do these things to carry a plot forward.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, no, I understand what she's doing. You're just so you want to see how she's going to work herself out of these sorts of things. But I gotta say, I'm only 3 episodes in out of 8 at this point, but I'm totally into it. I'll probably finish it in a couple days. And I didn't really watch Big Bang Theory, so I'm not super familiar with Cuoco, but she is super charming. Like I'm really. She's a really engaging lead, and you really, for someone who could come off as someone that you just get really annoyed with or frustrated with, you just keep like, oh, you know, kind of a feeling.
I agree. Yeah.
And I feel like that's a talent for sure. And I also have to, I noted to my brother, I really like the tone also too, because there are moments where it can be a bit grisly just because of the nature of the mystery, but it's not gratuitous. And it feels like, after Game of Thrones and lately HBO seems to sort of revel in darkness, and being grim. And I haven't just been able to get into any of their shows lately for that reason. And I feel like this one, it has dark elements to it, but the tone is sort of lighter and more fun while taking the mystery seriously. But it doesn't then step into silliness territory where everything's a joke. Yeah. And I was just admiring the tone it was keeping. So yeah, I'm super into this. I'm looking forward to wrapping this up. And have you checked this out, or you said your wife's watching it?
Yeah, I watched. I kind of dipped in and out. My wife watched the whole thing.
Oh, okay. What did she think?
Yeah, she really liked it. Yeah, she blazed through the whole season, and it is coming back.
Oh, for a season 2?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
I don't know. I don't know what they plan to do without spoiling anything, but I think your comments about Kaylee Cuoco, I mean, geez, when you think about it, I mean, her first like big gig was that sitcom with John Ritter.
Oh, right. Is that 8 Simple Rules?
8 Simple Rules for Dating My Teenage Daughter.
Right.
Right. And from then to now, like, she's never stopped working.
Yeah, good point.
And that's like 20 years ago at this point almost.
Wow.
I think, let's see, that show started in 02, 03. So just about 19, from 19 years, she's never stopped working. So that says something,
Yeah, I would say, I mean, I was familiar with her, of course. I could pick out that whole Big Bang cast from a lineup, definitely.
Yeah.
But I would say this definitely made me a fan. I really appreciate, she has to do a lot of comedic things, but she doesn't go too big.
Okay.
But she does them in such a way that it's hilarious, right? And I was just admiring it. I was like, I just really love the balance that they're doing with this.
Nice.
So,
Very cool.
How about yourself?
well,
what are you checking out these days?
Well, here's a new thing. I watched the first couple episodes of a new show called Clarice, which
CBS?
this is a CBS procedural, which is a sequel to Silence of the Lambs.
Right.
And-
So this is post that story.
Correct, and I think that itself is kind of interesting. It is set in 1993, so this is not a reboot, you know. Which you'd think that would be the inclination, right? So in that sense, it is meant to exist within the framework of Silence of the Lambs and I suppose Red Dragon and then Hannibal, you know, so this exists right in between there.
Okay.
It's not particularly good.
In what ways?
You know, you know me. I've talked about it. I think just in our last episode, I talked about I really like Silence of the Lambs. I think it's an amazing film.
Yep.
30 years later, so much of that movie's iconography like just exists. Like it's not a movie that has ever really faded away.
Yeah.
And that's remarkable when you think of 30 years, you know. So the desire to go back to that well, no pun intended, given what that movie's about, you get it, and that's why they do keep going back between all the sequels and prequel movies, and of course Hannibal the series.
Right, I forgot about that.
Yeah, and I mean that's quite a beloved show among a certain subset of folks, you know.
Yeah.
And what I've seen of it, I haven't seen the whole thing, but it's very well made, you know, that show. But that was just a straight reboot.
I see.
Hannibal was the series, and so this is doing something a little bit different, and so it emerges from kind of there's like a fissure in the rights. So
I thought I'd heard this. Yeah.
So it's kind of like the producers of this show have access to everything in Silence of the Lambs that is not Hannibal Lecter.
Isn't that fascinating? How are those things not of a piece? You know, I mean, it's from the same book. How do you?
Yeah, well, so the backstory there is that, you know, the first Hannibal Lecter movie was Manhunter.
Right. Oh, I see.
Right, which is based on the book Red Dragon. Mm-hmm. And so that film was produced by Dino De Laurentiis. So Manhunter comes out and it tanks. It's a great movie. Directed by Michael Mann, you know, Brian Cox plays Hannibal Lecter in there. It's a fantastic movie. Tom Noonan is the villain. William Peterson, Brian, he is Will Graham in that film. So that character
okay.
was played by Hugh Dancy in the TV series, and Edward Norton was in when they remade that. Anyway, so the movie comes out, it tanks, it doesn't do well, right?
Yeah.
So separately, the sequel novel is licensed by a different group of people, you know, to do Silence of the Lambs, and that include Hannibal Lecter is really the only character who carries over. So that character, because of Manhunter, the rights were held by Dino De Laurentiis. So he's like, yeah, you guys want to use Hannibal Lecter, fine, go ahead, but they had to get his permission. Now, Silence of the Lambs comes out and it becomes a huge smash hit, and so that's why Dino De Laurentiis was pushing so hard for Thomas Harris, the novelist, to write the sequel, so that because he had the rights to that, which is why they did the sequel, which is why they did Red Dragon, the remake of Manhunter, because Dino De Laurentiis cashed out on Hannibal, the movie, the Ridley Scott movie, and he's like, let's like go back and, you know, redo that. It's Marge Simpson and the Chanel dress, you know.
Speaking in terms I can understand.
Yeah, exactly. You know.
Yeah.
And then they did the prequel anyway. So that was the situation. So Silence of the Lambs is like its own little island in terms of the rights. So they can only really refer to the stuff in that film, which I guess works in like if you think about it. I mean, you've seen Silence of the Lambs, right? Mm-hmm. Like the movie ends with Hannibal Lecter is just like in the wind, right?
Right.
So. If you are talking about Hannibal Lecter, you're talking about him in terms of, dude, there's a cannibal like on the loose.
On the loose, yeah.
We got to find this guy. Or you just don't talk about him at all. So I guess it makes more sense. You just don't mention it.
Yeah.
Right?
Did you read, by the way, just this week, Michelle Pfeiffer did an interview where they wanted her to play the Clarice part.
Yeah.
But she turned it down because of that ending. She didn't like the idea of darkness sort of going free.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, you know.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's fascinating.
I can appreciate that. I certainly don't think she's wrong. I mean, I think she may think she was wrong in hindsight.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but I mean, of course, Jodie Foster was so good.
And that's actually kind of the problem when we talk about this show, Clarice. Which, by the way, Brian, am I wrong? How do you not call this show Starling?
Yeah, sure.
As opposed to Clarice. To me, that's just a better title.
Yeah.
It's more powerful. It feels more intriguing. To me, calling it Clarice is itself very sort of fan servicey, in my opinion.
It's funny because even reading it on our document I'm looking at right now, I just think of Anthony Hopkins' voice saying it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's totally it, you know? So the show, like I said, it's set a year or two after, I think the movie is 91, right? So this is set in 93, so about a little over a year. So it stars Rebecca Breeds, who I'm not familiar with her, but like she's doing fine. I don't think she's bad. But the problem is that Jodie Foster is so she's just iconic.
Right.
In that role, you know? And Julianne Moore had the same problem where it was like, well, she's doing a Jodie Foster impression. Right.
I've actually never seen that one. So I didn't know that she was doing something trying to imitate.
The Ridley Scott and I think Julianne Moore did the best she could. She's certainly not bad in that movie. That movie is awful, in my opinion.
I remember that, hearing that, and I just said,
here's what I'm going to say for certain because I know you, do not ever watch it.
Yeah. You know? Now, like I previously stated, I'm not into Grizzly.
Yeah.
And Silence of the Lambs is about what I can tolerate because it's a good movie.
That's
but
the bar.
Knowing that people weren't liking the sequel, I was like, well, then what's the point?
It's weird because Hannibal Lecter in Silence of the Lambs, he's in it for like 10 minutes, right?
Right.
And then famously he won an Oscar for Best Actor for being in it for just a handful of minutes. You know, and he showed up in an afternoon basically, right?
Right.
But
I mean, when you think of that movie, what do you think of?
That's the thing, right?
Speaking of iconic.
He hangs over every frame of it, right?
Yep.
And so when you then take that character and say, no, we're going to turn him into like a friggin' vigilante, it's like, he's a cannibal. Are you crazy?
Right.
Are you insane? No, you know? And so that's my deep antipathy towards the sequel. But above and beyond that, it's like, well, Julianne Moore is good, but she's doing a Jodie Foster impression. I think Rebecca Breeds in this series, even more so. It just sounds like it's to the point of distraction.
I thought you were going to say that she does her own thing, and that's too bad.
No. It's. I wish. I mean, I don't know. I don't know that there's a way to approach this character because, well, yeah, it is Clarice Starling, and it is a sequel to that movie, and well, you're boxed in, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't know that there's a good solution. But my thing is, I can't help but hear her doing a riff on Jodie Foster's accent, which is itself a construct, you know?
Right.
So that was a distraction to me. And then it's like, well, you take this and you just put it into a CBS procedural. So it feels very focus grouped and like boardroom oriented. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we got this thing here. Let's put it into this thing here and see what we get. So kind of a swing and a miss. I didn't like hate it.
Right.
But I'm just like, I think, I'm not even going to say that there isn't more story to tell with Clarice Starling because I think she's an interesting character. But the film is so iconic that the show is trying to like. This is weird, Brian. It's trying to connect with our memories of the movie, and so that distracts to the point where you're like, you're trying too hard. Versus just doing your own thing. But then it's the question becomes, well, if you just do your own thing, people are going to be like, well, then why make this a sequel to Silence of the Lambs? So I don't know what the good solution is here.
Yeah. Well, will you keep up with it?
I will not.
Okay.
So there's your answer. I watched the 3. I'm out.
Well, 3's pretty good. You gave it a shot.
I did indeed give it a shot. Yeah, the show starts this coming week as people listen to this. So it just so times out that it's arriving just very near the 30th anniversary of the release of Silence of the Lambs, and I'm always like, well, just watch Silence of the Lambs, you know?
Yeah, sure.
I've watched that film, you know, a dozen times at least.
Oh wow! You ever show it in class, or is it
I watch
like
it with my students. You know, I think it's. I mean, again, I just think it's an incredible film. I mean, above and beyond the story, the performances are just magnetic. The score by Howard Shore is so full of like mood. It's so different from what we sort of think of a Howard Shore score because of Lord of the Rings. But it's terrific.
Interesting.
If you haven't seen it in a while, I would highly recommend it.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, you're speaking to me. It's been probably decades.
I told you last time, you know,
Yeah.
I would be down to do a commentary track for that because I would have a lot to say.
Well, let's do it. I mean, I think we were already going to, but I need to revisit it, and then I would be really interested to hear what you have to say about it.
Well, there we go. Let's put that. Let's pencil that into the calendar. Here's a procedural that I am liking, Brian. It's called NYPD Blue.
Yeah, that's right. The saga continues.
The saga continues. I'm partway through the 6th season of NYPD Blue.
Okay.
So we have passed the Jimmy Smits era.
Oh.
And
Okay.
that was
you were dreading that a little.
That was quite an emotional journey. Mm-hmm. It was. I have not seen his farewell episode since fall of '98 when it first aired.
Wow. Do you remember the real world reasons why he left, or?
He signed on for 4 seasons. Mm-hmm. And so it was just kind of like, all right, I did my 4, I'm done. Kind of like Clooney on ER.
Sure.
It was definitely not a David Caruso situation.
Right.
Where, goddamn, like the more I read about his tenure on that show, it's like this guy managed to piss off everybody.
Did we talk about this, by the way? I was listening, a little bit of a tangent, sorry. I was listening to a podcast. I don't remember what it was, but they were talking about working with David Caruso on CSI. Did we talk about this on the show?
I don't believe so.
So basically, Caruso wanted to give the impression that his... I'm going to mess this up. His character was some sort of, not a ghost, but like a Grim Reaper or some sort of mythological sort of character or whatever. And for that reason, he could never be filmed walking in or out of doorways. Okay. He would always just appear. So he would make the writers and the filmmakers or directors jump through hoops to make sure that his character never walked into a room, because that was his go. You know, he was this overseer of darkness or something.
Wow. And by all accounts, that he stuck around on CSI long enough that, you know, he took his licks and he understood like the second chance he'd gotten.
Yeah, sure, I bet.
But it's funny because I just this week watched an interview with Stephen Bochco, who of course created NYPD Blue with David Milch, talking about when they were, you know, putting that show together. And, you know, Dennis Franz, they before they even had a script written, he was already on board and they were looking for the other guy. So Caruso comes in and he reads, and he had been on Hill Street Blues and a couple of things, and he really knocked him out in the read, right? And so Stephen Bochco's like 100% on board. And David Milch, who co-created the show with him, he's like, do not hire this guy. Mm-hmm. And he's like, why? And he's like, listen, this guy's crazy. Like, I'm crazy. I know crazy. This is not going to end well.
Yeah.
And like, again, before they've even shot a frame of film, David Milch called it.
Wow.
And this is Bochco talking about this, and he's like, and he was like, and it's very interesting what he said. He's like, the crazy, at least initially, was worth it because of what we were getting. Right. And then he's like, it reached a point where it just became such an air of negativity that it was like a mutual parting of ways. It's like he wanted to leave, we wanted him to go. It worked out fine.
See, you know, that's the unfortunate part. Because when I tell that story about him, his take on his character and how kind of crazy it is, there's like a part of me that admires that.
Yeah.
Like, he has a take, and he wants to add this layer to this character, and that's how he's going to play it. There's something kind of cool about that. Someone who really is putting some thought into this and not just showing up, punching in, punching out, right?
Yeah.
But when you become this negative force and you're bringing everyone down, then that's unacceptable.
That's the thing, because talk to anybody who was on NYPD when he was on, and I mean, I saw Nick Turturro talking to Rich Eisen, the sports guy.
Uh-huh.
And there was like a sports talk, but in the middle of it, it's like, oh, how crazy was Dave Caruso or something like that, And he's like, oh, he was crazy. He's like, we got along. Like, we liked each other, but he was crazy. It was one of those things. And
Doesn't that make you wonder? Because especially in Hollywood, I'm sure you encounter crazy all the time to varying degrees, but for everyone to unanimously be like, oh, that guy's nuts.
That's what I'm saying, man.
What is that like?
In life, you are either an example to follow or a warning of what to avoid, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I don't ever want to be in the Caruso seat,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But right now, anyway, go back to NYPD Blue. So it was a traumatic event for like the entire family when Jimmy Smits as Bobby Simone shuffled off this mortal coil.
Yeah.
Very effective. And then they replaced him with Rick Schroeder, who he's like kind of this like charisma vacuum,
Really?
It's kind of a shame. Like he's just really kind of flat, and I think maybe it's more pronounced because he's coming on the heels of like a very beloved character.
Right.
So I'm kind of like we gotta sit through the next season, 2 seasons of whatever with him in it. This is a weird sentence. Like we gotta hold out until Mark Paul Gosselaar shows up.
Right. I remembered he was involved, so I guess so he goes right after Schroeder.
Yeah, he put in like 4 seasons, so same as Jimmy Smits, and he was quite good on the show.
Mm-hmm.
But by after Jimmy Smits, really Dennis Franz is like the top billed star.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just fantastic. This guy, I mean, honestly, you watch this guy act, and it is a remarkable performance.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's deceptive, how hard it is.
Sure.
To create this character who is, I think Dennis Franz does such a good job of just completely inhabiting this sort of schlubby guy who could easily have become a stereotype. I mean, he's like one step removed from going da Bears,
Right.
And it's really remarkable what he did. So to see the progression and the growth, it's extraordinary. I mean, really, I'm completely loving the journey that we're going on with this series.
You know what that makes me think of is my brother doesn't have a very good memory of the Die Hard movies.
Sure.
So we were like, well, let's watch them. So we watched Die Hard 2 with Dennis Franz, and he's so good at what he's doing in there, but it is, like you say, it leans more into the Bears sort of character type of guy, which is what the movie requires. That's what it wants, and he delivers. But it makes me think with this show, that's really cool that he got years worth of an opportunity to show how much more range he had, rather than just showing up in these movies as the blowhard cop guy.
It's really true. Yeah,
shouts down the hero.
And it's funny too because in Die Hard 2, the guy who plays his cousin.
Right.
That actor, by the way, he's the voice of Harvey Bullock on the Batman animated series.
Oh,
if you were to watch that, but that actor is like his antagonist plays his antagonist in the first season of NYPD Blue.
Oh, really?
So kind of weird piece of history. And they did Die Hard before that, so you wonder a little bit of stunt casting. But yeah, to your point, like you could have seen Dennis Franz just cashing out on a career of playing the Die Hard 2 guy.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Mm-hmm. But when you think about it, I mean, he did Sipowicz for 12 seasons, and then he just called it a career.
Right.
Because it's like, it's never going to get any better.
Sure.
I mean...
Well, it's just too bad. I would hope he would, if he still wants to do it, you hope he would find roles that still...
Well, and I mean, I think he had that...
have to.
That's what I'm saying. He had that recognition, like, man, talk about leaving him wanting more,
Sure.
I mean, he probably had to build a wing of his house to store all the Emmys he got. on that show.
Right.
It's remarkable. If you have not seen NYPD Blue in a long time, Brian, I would highly recommend it. I think there's a lot to like in that show.
All right.
Yeah. But that is me. That is my catch up. So let's take a little break and then come back and talk through some listener letters. And we are back, and here's a letter that we got. This is from Jeff on Twitter.
Okay.
And Jeff has recently gotten into Better Call Saul, which is, of course, a prequel to Breaking Bad, the Breaking Bad universe.
Right.
And so that raised the question for him about the variable quality of so many prequels out there. And he says, why have prequels been so hard to do right? I don't think that George Lucas maliciously set out to make his prequels so divisive. Would you say that Better Call Saul had the advantage of being a television show as opposed to a trilogy of films? Is it the lack of expectations? Or do you suppose the much smaller window of time between Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul played in its favor? Because, of course, 16 years between Return of the Jedi and
Right. Phantom
Menace, etc. So what is it about prequels that makes them hard to pull off? What do you think, Brian?
Specifically speaking to Better Call Saul, which I love, and I really, really loved Breaking Bad also. That was in my whole life of, X amount of shows I can count on one hand that I was just completely immersed in. Breaking Bad is one of them. And I think, and it seemed like it was a bad idea, right? To take this interesting character who added a bit of color to the show, but it was like, do we really want to follow this guy for the whole time? And why would you even want to try to follow up something that you completely nailed the landing? Everyone adores this show. It will be remembered forever. Why even try to go back to that universe and risk screwing it up? And I think why the show works so well is they knew what they had with that character that maybe we didn't as an audience. And he is interesting enough on his own. And Bob Odenkirk is incredible. The range of that character's cockiness versus his insecurity, and they populated it with really, really interesting characters. And I've said before, I thought season 1 was good, but I was like, okay, yeah, I will watch this. But then they found, what they could do with it, and the show has just never stopped rocketing ever since. And they have, his girlfriend / cohort, equally interesting, if not possibly more interesting character, played by Rhea Seehorn. In there, and I would love a spinoff show of her, frankly. And so I just think they were able to build a really, really interesting show around this character that did not rely on Breaking Bad. Yeah. And so that's great writing, that's great actors, that's they had a nugget and they knew what they could grow it into. And I think a lot of times when you make these... Oh, by the way, so the Golden Globes, I don't even think we're going to talk about them, but they announced their whatever. The fact that Rhea Seehorn has never been nominated for Better Call Saul invalidates every award show. It's ridiculous. And every time I see that, I'm like, well, then I'm not interested. And Jared Leto is nominated for whatever HBO movie.
And I'm hearing mixed is putting it kindly what I hear about his performance.
Yeah, she is just ridiculous. And so going back to it, can you tell I'm in love with this woman? She is a phenomenal actress. It's a phenomenal character, Kim Wexler. Anyway, so but then I think when you have the Star Wars prequels, which we have definitely grown to love over the years, I think with time and just sort of reevaluation and seeing what they were doing and whatnot. But you're taking like a story that had a beginning, middle, and end that is just absolutely adored worldwide. Mm-hmm. And then you're making something that is so close to the story that we know and love that it is shackled to what it can do, right? And it can almost, and it's reinterpretations of characters that we know. So there's just a lot of, it's a very, very small space they have to work in, and they can't build out a whole lot. And there's just a lot of room for scrutiny. It invites a lot of room for scrutiny. right? I think that might be one of the biggest things, right? When you are just so tied to the thing that everybody already knows and loves. And I think with Better Call Saul, they're definitely doing that in some ways. They are leading into the situation that Walter White walks into.
Yeah.
You know, and some of the characters that he meets. But they don't feel... I don't feel Walter White looming over this show. He can just freely walk into this whenever that's going to happen.
Yeah.
They've just created a thing that can exist on its own. And with even if that show didn't exist, this feels like it could sustain itself. Right? And I think with the prequels, when you have so many little things you have to fit into here, and if you do this, it disrupts the whole thing. So you might make a decision that you're like, well, I don't know that really worked, but I know you had to do it because I had to sustain this thing.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of areas that could crack. You know, and then then it doesn't feel like the strongest story possible, but then you're also sort of diminishing the thing that you already love, right? Because now you're saying, well, this depends on this now, and if you don't buy this thing, you kind of have to erase it from your mind to enjoy the thing you already loved.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's a lot of room to screw that up, and it's difficult. It's difficult, but sometimes they pull it off.
You know, I think just to build on what you're saying, you know, I think when we look at Better Call Saul, the genius of it is it is a prequel in that, yes, it fills in a time frame, you know, before Breaking Bad, right? But it's not like Breaking Bad is Walt's story, beginning, middle, end. This is Saul's story.
Yes.
And there's a little overlap, but it's, you know, it's like, you know, it's like if you made a show about Zaki Hassan, right? And you're like, and we're gonna pick up in you know, the year 2000 after Brian and Zaki became friends, and that's where the story starts, and then it ends in 2025 after Zaki's tragic death saving the world on an asteroid that's about to fall into the planet. That's what's going to happen in a couple of years. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah.
But we say, hey, let's do a separate story about Brian Hall, and that story is going to start in 1990. Well, that's not a prequel to the Zaki Hassan show,
right?
In that's the Brian show, and yeah, there's a little bit of overlap there, but that's the Brian story.
Very well. That's a great example. Yep.
Thank you.
That totally makes sense. Well, it makes a lot of sense to me. I don't know.
Right? I mean, I think a lot of the problem with prequels is the same problem with sequels, which is the question is never asked, is there a story here? Right? Because the problem is, well, if, you know, with a lot of sequels, it's like, well, you've already told the story. So what else are we doing here? And the same thing, you know, this is, you know, like, to me, like, look at Rogue One, which I think is a pretty successful example of a prequel, right? And, you know, I think what that flick did reasonably well is it told a high stakes story that's still not bigger than Star Wars. Because,
yeah, sure.
Because it can't be bigger than Star Wars.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
And that's and that movie, I mean, it butts right up against the edge of dropping in a lot of fan service, right?
Sure.
In fact, I watched the end of it just like a week or so ago, and my kids made that same observation where, like, you know, the movie ends with Vader like watching the Tantive just like take off. I mean, he's like, it's within arm's length before it takes off, and then, you know, we pick up with Star Wars, and Princess like, what are you talking about?
Huh?
You know?
Yeah,
the what plans? You know?
Right.
And he's like, I just saw you like 5 minutes ago.
Right.
Right? You just ran the red. I just pulled you over. You know, that's like,
yeah.
And that's sort of the trick, right? I think Rogue One sort of, it gets by with a little bit of the fan service, but that's the thing. It's like, it's a prequel by definition. It has to exist before the thing, you know, and so it can't be too obvious about that. You know, like the Hobbit trilogy, which I like, but it did some of that. You know, it ends the very end of the movie. Sorry, spoiler, Brian. I know you haven't seen the last one, I don't think, right?
Right. Yeah. Good memory.
It ends with first of all, like Legolas is in there, and he's not in the book at all.
Right.
But it's like, hey, you like this guy, right? Here you go, And it ends with Legolas. His dad is like, you know what you should do? You should look for this guy. He's called Strider, and see what he's up to. And it's like, all right, did you need to mention that at all? And it's funny because I think per the chronology of the universe, Aragorn would be like 10.
Yeah, good call. Yeah.
And it's one of those things like when they do stuff like that always irks me a little. Mm-hmm. Or it's like, all right, come on, So the mere existence of a prequel doesn't even bother me, even if it's like a retcon, like it's a thing that we haven't heard referred to before. Mm-hmm. I don't mind it as long as it makes sense. Like I don't like the Alien prequels. Alien, the last stupid one, whatever that was, Covenant. Is that what it's called, Covenant?
Yeah, right.
See, what's it? It was Prometheus.
Starting with Prometheus, right?
Prometheus,
and then, whatever the sequel to that was.
And Prometheus, I was like on the fence about, but this the second one, it's meant to be like, and here's how we ended up with the original Alien, and that drives me crazy because I'm like, I said this at the time, it makes the world of that movie smaller, not bigger. Right. And that's kind of my thing. Just as a general rule, I would say I'm wary of prequels. Because I'm like the story. If it mattered, if it was germane to the story, it would have been told.
Yeah. But I mean, but again, I think Better Call Saul is the perfect example where it's like there can still be more stories to be told in that world.
Yeah.
But when they become too dependent on the thing that's going to chase them immediately after, you can. It's not that it can't be done, but it's just you run greater risk at it feeling a little more forced.
Yeah. It's. I mean. Like we get it, like the industry is IP obsessed, so it's just sort of that's just what it is. So you know it, but I mean it's I mean here's a good example. Temple of Doom is a prequel to Rage of the Lost. It totally doesn't need to be a prequel, by the way. And they have the moment in there where he goes for the gun to shoot the swordsman, which is calling back to Raiders of the Lost Ark, but there isn't a gun there. See, that's funny because he did the one time. But it's like, but that didn't happen yet.
Right.
So it feels even more arbitrary that movie's a prequel.
Why did they do that? Do you know?
Why did they make it a prequel?
Yeah.
They wanted that to be his first encounter with the supernatural. Isn't that right?
Interesting.
Because, in Raiders, he's kind of, on board with it. He's not surprised by any of it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, he has that line to Marcus about hocus pocus and whatnot, but,
Yeah, but at the end, he's like, Marion, close your eyes.
Yeah, he's kind of versed, and maybe he's putting up a little bit of a front there, even.
That's a good question.
We can talk ourselves out of it.
Was it because they didn't want Nazis in it, maybe?
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah,
I mean, it doesn't matter, right? I mean,
it doesn't matter. That minecart thing is awesome.
We'd have to look into that. I'm curious why they decided to. Why specifically they made it a prequel? Because I mean, let's be real. You don't watch those movies in chronological order.
No.
You watch Temple
Speaking
of
of
Doom
machete
second.
order, they should have saved that title for that.
For that, that's true.
Because he has a machete.
The Star Wars prequels, that was my big beef with a lot of what those movies did is it made the universe smaller, not bigger, and that stuff always drives me crazy. Sure. I mean, I'll tell you, it took right now with the Mandalorian and what they did with Boba Fett to make me finally be on board with the origin George Lucas crafted for that character.
Boba Fett. Oh, sure.
Because I'm really little Boba Fett Jr. here is
Sure.
It just made right. And if you remember the stuff in episode 3 with Kashyyyk, he wanted initially in the original goings he wanted to have little kid Han Solo.
Right.
Do you remember that?
Yep.
Thank God somebody walked him off that ledge.
Yeah, it's funny because, I mean, you're going to get a reaction upon first viewing because everyone's going to be excited to see the character they love. But ultimately you have to take a step back and realize that you are sort of boxing yourself in a bit.
That's what I'm saying. So it's tricky. I mean, doing prequels is I mean, there's plenty of good examples, but it's almost like the more beloved the work is, the less you should even think about doing a prequel.
Sure.
One example of like a perfect prequel, in my opinion, is Godfather 2.
Sure. Right.
But that's a sequel also, so it works with those two stories playing off each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyway, so those are our unformed thoughts.
Yeah, that's a good question, though. I like that. Thanks, Jeff.
Let's take another break and talk through some headlines. All right, we are back, and oh my gosh, we have lost a lot of big names in the last couple weeks.
Yeah. And from all over the place, right?
Yeah.
I mean, just lots of all entertainment we've watched, but very different entertainment.
So who are some of the luminaries that have left us, Brian?
Well, we lost Hal Holbrook.
Hal Holbrook.
Age 95.
Now Hal Holbrook is one of those guys who was old when we were young.
Yes, right.
He's like the Colorado Rockies. I mean, I remember watching. He was in Magnum Force. Mm-hmm. No, I'm sorry. He was in not Magnum Force. What's the second Dirty Harry movie? Is it Magnum Force? I think it is.
I think so.
Dirty
right?
Harry, Magnum Force.
Deadpool is after that, and
Deadpool is like the last one. And I think it's Magnum Force. He's like the corrupt, like police lieutenant or whatever.
Okay.
And he like was old in that.
Mm-hmm.
Probably he was probably like our age.
Right.
Probably late 40s, 50s, something like that. Because he's Deep Throat in All the President's Men.
Crazy, which I'd forgotten. Oh, it is Magnum Force. Yeah, I see it.
It is Magnum Force. Okay.
Yeah.
So Deep Throat, that role was like 76.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I remember seeing that again. I was either in high school or college, and I was like, oh yeah, that's Hal Holbrook. I knew him weirdly, but he's like that old guy.
Yeah. I mean, that's certainly the things I know him from, like The Firm. Yeah.
And
of course, Into the Wild, right? Where he was nominated for an Oscar.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, that's probably what I know him from best. Because I don't know that I had him sort of identified when I saw All the President's Men for the first time.
Sure.
But, I mean, just looking at his credits, I mean, they're all over the place. He did Lincoln, recently with Spielberg, and a lot of television. And he also had a Mark Twain performance that he would do.
A one-man show.
A one-man show, and he I guess, did it for decades.
That's right.
Do this show with monologues, and I guess I'm reading here, he brought the act to television first in 1967. So, and then he finally retired the show in September 2017.
Jeez. I mean, he was one of those guys who, like, you would look at him and be like, well, he obviously needs to play Mark Twain.
Sure, right.
He just had a very Twain look about him.
Mm-hmm.
He was also married to Dixie Carter, by the way.
Oh, I didn't know that.
From Designing Women. He survived her by 10 years. She passed away, I think, in like 2010.
Huh. I didn't know that. Wow.
She was, remember Dixie Carter? She was Maggie on Different Strokes. That's what I remember her from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Hal Holbrook, he was also Hal Holbrook. He was also one of those people who I've referred to as the fill-in Perry Masons after Raymond Burr died.
Oh, right. Right.
He was the guy. I think they did like 5 of those movies. I think he did 4 of them.
Oh, how funny!
He was not Perry Mason in the Perry Mason. Who else? Oh, Cloris Leachman has passed away.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Cloris Leachman. Now, this is somebody else. The first time I ever saw her was in a TV show called The Nut House.
Oh, interesting.
Which was a sitcom created by Alan Spencer, who created Sledgehammer. It was Alan Spencer and Mel Brooks, actually, and it's about this hotel called the Nut House, N-U-T-T, and it starred Harvey Korman and Cloris Leachman. So that's the first time I saw her. But only later did I realize, oh, she was on Mary Tyler Moore, and she had a spin-off of that, and I mean, she had been around for a long. I mean, she was in her 90s when she died. Also, it's like
Young Frankenstein.
Young Frankenstein. Of course, that was like the part of her career I discovered, after the fact.
Yeah.
she later went on to be in the 80s. She replaced Mrs. Garrett on The Facts of Life.
Oh, I never watched that.
You never watched
Different Strokes, and I watched a lot of those, but there's just some of them I kind of missed, and that was one of those.
The Facts of Life, the show that put George Clooney on the map.
Right.
Yeah, it originally starred Charlotte Rae as the, she was the housekeeper on Different Strokes.
Right.
And then she went off and she had the show. I don't know why I watched that show now that I think about it. Yeah.
Well, it was on. I mean, that's kind of what we did in the 80s.
It has a theme song that I listen to all the time.
You take the good, you take the bad. Yeah.
My daughter the other day in the car was like, put on Facts of Life. So that's kind of how I'm...
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, Facts of Life theme song.
Well, we'd be remiss on this podcast especially. She played Mrs. Glick on The Simpsons in 3 Men and a Comic Book.
Yes.
Where,
oh, my gosh. I forgot about that. Boys love candy.
Yep. Held on to a grenade too long.
My brother Asa. Lady, I can leave without saying a bad word.
Yeah.
There's no way I'm saying thank you.
You're welcome.
That is, I've said this on this podcast. I've said it before. That is to me like the archetypal Simpsons episode.
Oh yeah,
for me,
so good.
So Cloris Leachman gone at 94 years old. She will be missed, but unfortunately, it does not end there. Who else?
No, and then this was kind of shocking. Dustin Diamond, of course, best known as Screech.
Yeah,
from Saved by the Bell. Which, I mean, we had a whole run where we were talking about Saved by the Bell every week. So obviously, we're pretty endeared to that show. But this was shocking. I mean, he was 44 years old, and he was hospitalized about a month ago. And he was diagnosed just a month ago with stage 4 lung cancer.
Yeah.
Right? And then it was just, I mean, yeah, weeks, and then he passed. That was really sad.
From hospitalization to the end was, inside of a month.
Yeah, and I kind of wondered when he passed, because it's been sort of a rocky road for this guy. I mean, he had a hard time escaping that character, and he has done some things that I'm sure he probably regretted later. He wrote sort of a tell-all book that was mostly fabricated and kind of badmouthed his co-stars, and sort of he did like a whole sex tape thing that he later said he regretted. And it's just, I was sort of happy to see that when he passed, it wasn't like, oh man, that guy. I think people were able to be like, look, that guy had things that I'm sure he regretted, and he had just from childhood, I mean, he was set up to be almost like a punchline, just due to this character. I mean, it's due to how well he played that character. And I thought it was nice that people seemed pretty understanding of, man, that must have been difficult, and we really loved what that guy brought to our lives, and he will be missed. So I was happy to see that reaction.
It was gratifying to see. Yeah, I mean, obviously, the sadness of sort of somebody who felt very immediate and that being expressed. It was nice to see his co-stars express their own sadness. However, there was a part of me that I don't know if this struck you, but I felt an air of phoniness about some of it.
Oh, interesting. I don't know.
I mean, I'm not going to impugn hypocrisy on anybody's part, but I mean, like, pretty much, Mark Paul Gosselaar and Tiffany Thiessen and Elizabeth Berkley, they're like, oh, we remember the good times, whatever. It's like, I mean, you could have reached out to him beforehand. I mean, he gave an interview. He's like, I haven't talked to Mark Paul since I was 16, And this is just a couple of years ago. And sort of, and in fact, just the other day, because Mark Paul Gosselaar is on a show called Mixed-ish, and he did an interview, and of course they asked him about this, and he even said, like, people sort of assume everybody stays close, and it doesn't really work that way, But I found, like, I don't know, it's a tough situation, because I can only imagine what these people feel, because they probably feel regret, too, at having not kept in touch with them, probably. I found, Mario Lopez, who did keep in touch with him, but he said in at least one or two statements, he said, and I'm sort of paraphrasing, but he's like, I have a clean conscience because I know I did everything I could for him as a friend.
Oh, that's interesting.
Right, like because he said I kept in touch with him. I was always a phone call away. I talked to him before his diagnosis. I said you should go. Like.
Oh, well, that's nice.
Which I mean, that's sort of Mario Lopez strikes me as that kind of guy. Like
he does strike me as a nice guy. Yeah,
because I saw an interview with him like a while ago, like 5 years ago.
Yeah,
where he's talking about Dustin Diamond, and he's like, yeah, everybody else kind of was like standoffish with him, but I always. I enjoyed him. He was like a little brother to me. And like, this is him 5 years ago. So before
right.
all of this,
he had to say, yeah.
Yeah. Before it being something you had to say. And so that sort of stayed with me.
Yeah.
As like, it seemed like he did maintain some relationship with him. But when, now there's sort of like, well, yeah, everybody kind of has to say a nice thing. But it's like, well, it seems like this guy made some mistakes, and it seems like he spent a lot of time trying to make amends for those mistakes.
Sure.
Because I mean, because Mario Lopez interviewed him in I think 2016, and he said something like, what would you say to them if you saw them now? He's like, I'd just say, hey, I'd like your forgiveness, like. Mm-hmm. And you feel, I mean, genuinely, you see that footage now, and they're, God damn, I mean, you feel really bad for him.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely. Yeah, I mean, if he's truly sorry for these things, it's tough. And it's weird too because we lump these people into like, well, they're all best friends. They sang the song about it, "Friends Forever." Yeah. But it's like it was a job, and they did it, 20, 30 years ago. So it's, I don't know.
I mean, it's a thing where when you look at. I mean, the OG Saved by the Bell cast, right?
Yeah.
Every single one of them, amazingly, has had a reasonably successful post Saved by the Bell career, except for Dustin Diamond, right? I did a piece for the paper, kind of a remembrance of him.
I was actually going to bring this up. I like what you wrote.
Oh, thank you.
I want to hear what you say first, though.
Well, I mean, one thing I talk about in there is like, you have, imagine being young. He's like from 11 to whatever, his early 20s, and you're playing this role, and everywhere you go, everyone recognizes you.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's fame and awareness at an age where you're not ready for it. You're not emotionally ready for it. And then the role is gone. The money's gone. But you're still shackled to that.
Mm-hmm. And that particular character is just a walking punchline.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you're the goofus. You know, and what can he do? It wasn't the clothes he was wearing. I mean, it's his face. Like, he's that character. He looks like that character. And so I remember that in that movie Made. Remember that with Vince Vaughn and Jon Favreau, and there's just this whole joke where they can't get into a club, but Dustin Diamond gets in. They're like, you let Screech into the club? You let Screech?
Yeah.
It was just something that was tied to him for his whole life.
Yeah.
That's just got to do something to your psyche.
I mean, it's tough because the unfortunate reality is, given enough time, he probably would have come out on the other side of it. Mm-hmm. Because all the people that, the whole generations have come of age with Saved by the Bell, and they would have wanted to cast him in some way, shape, or form. Mm-hmm. And so you feel like, the possibility of that happening does not exist now. The fact that there have been all these Saved by the Bell reruns that did not, not reruns, reunions that did not involve Screech. Mm-hmm. And now that's never going to happen.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh yeah, we were talking about doing something for the second season. It's like, well, we know why he wasn't in the first season.
Right.
Like, I mean, everyone is pissed at him.
Yeah. And it probably would have taken some work.
Yeah.
You know, there's probably some work to be done there, but
so it is something bittersweet. I mean, the added tragedy of the fact that it wasn't, like, it seemed like he was sort of on the other side of whatever personal issues he had. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't those things that did him in. It was this freaking horrible malady that has no mercy. Mm-hmm. It wasn't substance abuse or anything like that. It was this thing.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
So that's rough, you know?
Yeah, I mean, these are all sad, of course. But, the other people we're talking about are legends, and they've lived very long lives. And it's just, this one just, it kind of stings a little bit because, like I say, I mean, he's brought me a lot of joy,
Yeah.
honestly. I mean, I loved the show when I was young. I still get a kick out of it, now as an adult. And, yeah, it's just a really sad end for him.
And 44 years old is, I mean, that's very close to our age, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
There's something about that, too. Like, we're entering that age range where this stuff is a very real possibility. Mm-hmm. And that there's something about that as well.
Yeah.
Speaking of legends, one more legend just died yesterday, and that is Christopher Plummer.
Yeah.
91 years old, Christopher Plummer.
91. Yeah.
I mean, when we were texting about this yesterday, it's like what really struck me is the depth of this guy's filmography. Mm-hmm. Because almost all the remembrances are like Sound of Music star Christopher Plummer, and I'm like, that's fine, but dude was a baller for way long after Sound of Music. Mm-hmm. Right?
Mm-hmm. All the way up to Knives Out,
yeah,
year
exactly.
and a half ago or something.
I mean, think about it. Ridley Scott plugs him in for 15 minutes of a movie 3 weeks before it comes out.
There should be a documentary about that, frankly.
And he comes out the other side with an Oscar nomination.
Yes. Yeah.
For his trouble,
Yeah.
I mean, by all accounts, that was like, they didn't have him go anywhere. They just like had him in a studio against a green screen.
Incredible.
And just plugged him in. And again, it's like, we got to get the pedophile out of here so that we don't have any bad buzz. Who can we get on short notice? Who's going to do an amazing job? Christopher Plummer, who was Ridley Scott's first choice for that movie anyway.
Oh, right. I forgot about that. Yeah, Kevin Spacey in old man makeup.
Studio forced Kevin Spacey on him, so that was a smart decision. And again, it's like 3 weeks before the movie comes out, it's 15 minutes of screen time, maybe, gets an Oscar nomination for it.
And frankly, I don't remember a lot about that movie, but I absolutely remember him. And especially
he is the only thing I remember. Yeah, I totally.
Well, we have the Getty Museum, literally down the road from me. So I didn't know the story of the Gettys, and it was actually kind of interesting for that reason. But yeah, man, his list of credits go on, and I think about this a lot of times too. I hope to retire someday.
Yeah.
Where I want to make enough money and be able to read all the books I want to read and go on trips and live my life. And I'm just so fascinated by these other professions like musicians or actors, and they just don't want to stop. They work literally until their deaths in their 90s. I mean, Clint Eastwood still, I think he just had a movie, right? That's coming out. There was a trailer dropped or something, and he's in his 90s. He's still directing movies. They just, it's impressive. And obviously they're compelled. They love what they do.
Yeah, it's nice to know for actors like this, like the options are always there. Like they've created such a body of work, such a body of consistent quality that they can work right up until the end if they want to. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, it's funny because when you think about it, in terms of this profession, retiring is the stranger.
Yeah,
option.
You're right.
You're talking about Jackie Brown. Like, Bridget Fonda just in, 2002 is like, you know what, I'm done.
Right.
Right? And you're like, oh, that's, wow, okay. Or Gene Hackman, right? I think he stopped acting right around then, too.
Right.
He's
Sean Connery.
Sean Connery's another one. Yeah. But, you got your Clint Eastwood, and you got a lot of these, it's like somebody like Christopher Plummer, who was phenomenal in Knives Out. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's the accrued gravitas that he has that allows for that,
Yeah.
I mean, it's remarkable to me that he only ever won one Academy Award in his career.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that only in 2012.
Wait, what was that for?
Beginnings. where he plays somebody who comes to terms with his sexuality very late in life.
Man, that rings a bell. Oh, Beginners.
Sorry, did I say Beginnings?
Yeah.
I'm
But
Beginners,
well, I
sorry.
mean, close. Yeah. Okay. Wow. I mean, look at that. You know, he could have just retired and lived on a sailboat, but he
great.
kept going and got his Oscar.
You know, the first movie I ever saw him in was actually Star Trek VI.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
He plays the Klingon who recites Shakespeare.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, "You've never experienced Klingon until you've never experienced Shakespeare until you've read it in the original Klingon." And it's crazy because he's just, he's saying "cry havoc" and all this, and you totally buy it. Like, you're like, this should be ridiculous,
Right. Sure.
but it totally works. And it's because and you know what else he's great in is The Insider.
Yeah. Oh, that's a really good forgotten movie, isn't it?
It really is.
Yeah.
Forgotten not by me because I make sure my students watch it every semester in my media class.
I think every 2 years I'm like telling my brother, I'm like, dude, I'm telling you, you're gonna love this movie. You got to watch this movie.
So good, fantastic, and he's so good in it. I mean, he has that scene where he just goes off on what's her name?
Wow. Yeah, I know.
What's her name? She's in Bound.
Gershon.
Gina Gershon. That's it.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah.
Dude, are we just old? Is that what's
I don't
happening?
know what's going on. You know, it's funny. I was just talking about this with someone earlier because I was doing a Zoom game night trivia thing, and I forgot Deadpool.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm like, I know it's Ryan Reynolds. He's in a red suit. His name's Wade Wilson. I know what this is, but there's like your brain when you're sort of put on the spot, it just puts this wall up.
Dude, it's happening far too frequently. It's what, and I'm enough of like a paranoiac that I'm like, is this how Alzheimer's starts?
Oh man, I hope not.
Right? That's the stuff that terrifies me.
I do think it is a bit of a phenomenon. This is I don't even know if this is going to be a good example, but over Christmas break, my family and I were watching Wheel of Fortune every night. It became like our thing. Mm-hmm. And then we bought our parents a Switch for Christmas, and we bought them Wheel of Fortune so we could play Wheel of Fortune. And when you are watching and you get to play everyone's turn and there's no money at stake, you see it before everybody. You know what the answer to the puzzle is.
So true.
But when you're playing it and there's a timer, and if you don't come up with the correct letter, the next person's going to get it. There's just this whole other level of pressure, right? So I think there's something about that. Something about being put on the spot. Just, I don't know if it takes power from one part of your brain and distracts it, or yeah. I don't know. Anyway,
Regardless,
I forgive us.
this has been Zach and Brian getting old.
Right.
Well, so Christopher Plummer, he will be missed, and if you are listening to this and feel the urge to check out examples from his filmography, just go to IMDb, close your eyes, and wherever your finger lands,
Yep.
You'll probably 12 Monkeys. He's also in 12 Monkeys. That's another good one.
Wow, I've forgotten that. I don't remember that movie very well, to be honest.
Well, you got a good movie waiting for you for whenever you decide to revisit it.
Yeah.
That's what that means.
Yep.
That was back when Bruce Willis gave a crap.
Yes.
Speaking of filmographies, but going in a slightly different direction.
Yeah. You know what's funny, by the way? Like I said, Dan, my brother, has not watched Die Hard. He probably hasn't seen it in its entirety in decades.
Wow.
And so it's almost like he was watching it again for the first time. And halfway through the movie, he was like, wow, Bruce Willis is really acting in this. And it wasn't a comment. He wasn't slamming Bruce Willis now. He was actually saying that in other movies now,
Yeah.
actors kind of show up and The Rock is The Rock and he's charismatic and he winks and da-da-da-da-da. But like Bruce Willis is out of breath. He sounds scared. Like he's in over his head. His voice is cracking. And it stood out to him. He's like, this is a great performance. So
people forget that Bruce Willis in Die Hard, the whole point was he is not an action hero.
Right.
People forget that. And I mean, you look at the stuff he's in these days, I mean, you feel bad for him on some level because you're like, Bruce, do you need the money that bad? Like,
Right.
Right? I mean, because just go to Voodoo and you'll see like the last 10, 12 things he's done are all like kind of straight to
Right.
whatever the equivalent of straight to video is now, you know?
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't know, man. Like, because I just saw a thing. It's like hard kill, hard die. But like, it's one of those things where you're like, feels like you're trying to cash in on something here.
Right. Right.
But it's Bruce Willis and Jesse Metcalfe. You know, the guy from John Tucker Must Die.
Right. Right. Right.
And I feel like, you know, Bruce, just like call it a career, man. I don't know. Like,
It just strikes me as odd that he's not, you know, like a Paul Thomas Anderson or someone isn't putting him in some sort of, you know.
I mean, look, he has worked with Tarantino. He's worked with Shyamalan.
Right.
There are directors who will work with him.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think he's devalued his own brand by doing this crap.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, like he could be, I mean, think about it. What's that movie, Nobody's Fool? Do you remember that?
No.
Nobody's Fool. Bruce Willis was in that, but Paul Newman was in that. This is like mid-90s. And that was like, ooh, look at like older Paul Newman, you know? And he may have gotten an Oscar nomination for that. I can't remember. But, you know, that was sort of like the last act of Paul Newman's career. Like he's doing these kind of distinguished roles.
Right.
Bruce Willis could be that right now.
You know what he could do? I wouldn't change it, but he would be good in Road to Perdition. Like kind of a tough guy.
Yeah.
You know, but a family man now. He cares for his son. I think he's got the, you know, Sixth Sense show.
I mean,
he has a sensitive side.
When he cares,
Yeah.
he like Glass, which I did not like.
Yeah.
He was good in it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Unbreakable. Yeah. I mean, Shyamalan got great stuff out of him.
That's what I'm saying. And Tarantino, you know, maybe needs to sprinkle some of his mojo on him again.
Right. Wait, I'm going to be super indulgent. I've told this story before, but I got to tell it again. This is my Bruce Willis story.
Okay.
So when I used to work on the Fox lot, there's this building, Building 88, and that's where a lot of the big executives are. And it's just one long building. So you know that awkward situation where you enter a hallway and someone's on the other end of it? It's a very long hallway, and you're like, we're going to cross paths. When are we going to look at each other? I get closer and closer to this person, and it's Bruce Willis. And I'm like,
Wow.
oh, wow. So I'm like, do we acknowledge each other? I mean,
What's the protocol?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to like, you know, I just don't know what to do. We're getting closer. We're both doing that dance. I see him looking at the carpet. I'm looking at the wall. And eventually we hit that threshold and we look up at each other and he trips.
Wow.
Trips. And he's like, "Dude." And then I go, whoa. And I kind of stop and he catches himself and he just looks at me with that Bruce Willis smirk and he goes, oops. Oh, man.
That is awesome. You got a great Bruce Willis story out of that.
Yeah, I'll never forget that.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of tripping, that's what he's been doing for the last like 10 years in terms of the movies he's working on. So,
Well, I hope he comes back.
we're rooting for you, Bruce.
Yeah.
What else is happening, Brian?
I just wanted to touch on this super briefly as sort of a footnote in history, but, you know, due to the pandemic, we've been sort of in a lockdown situation coming up on a year in about a month. And the Sundance Film Festival found a way to continue this year.
Yeah.
And I just found it sort of fascinating. I mean, the whole movie theaters coming back thing was sort of a, you know, a tug of war this past year with Tenet definitely, you know, tugging in one way, trying to get theaters back. And I just thought it was fascinating that Sundance found a mode to continue to operate, which was basically you would pay a ticket to see a film, but you had a 4-hour window to watch it. So they
Right.
still found a way to restrict it. You couldn't just watch it for the week that Sundance existed, which still made it in demand, right? Like it was a limited opportunity to watch these things and sort of a funny manufactured demand. It wasn't like you had to fly anywhere. You didn't have to go to snowy, cold, you know, Utah or whatever to go do this. But then out of this movie, Apple bought a movie called Coda for, I think, $25 million.
Huh.
So it, you know, it lived on. They found a way to continue, and it was very 2021, so to speak. And I don't know. I just found that fascinating that they're just finding new ways to do things. And And anyone could have attended Sundance this year.
Yeah.
Just for a price. But
That's
like I say, it still worked. These movies found their audience and they got sold. And I don't know. It's interesting seeing the way life finds a way. I was gonna say, yeah, the way that people find ways to adapt and continue. It's been kind of fascinating.
It's very cool.
Yeah. Likewise, adapting and finding new ways to exist. Justice League. I don't know if we've talked about this. No. There's a release date. Right?
Yeah,
so
it's sneaking up. It's like a month away.
A lot quicker than I expected, which is funny, by the way, with the whole streaming thing and Netflix and whatnot. I mean, there's this whole model with the Super Bowl coming up this weekend. It used to be, okay, we'll show a trailer for Armageddon or something, and it'll come out in half a year. But that was their calculus, right? This is how we get audience fervor built up. We know what we're doing, right? With time. Right. But now with Netflix, they'll be like, oh, there's this really huge movie coming up in like 2 weeks. There's like a whole different metric for getting you interested in streaming material. So I thought it was, with this, kind of drop it like, oh yeah, in about a month, Justice League is going to drop. And now this is a 240-minute long movie.
Yeah, it was originally going to be a miniseries. Well, yeah. It was originally going to be like a movie in theaters, right? But when it got picked up by HBO Max, they said they were going to do it as like a 4-hour miniseries, 4-episode miniseries. Mm-hmm. And I guess like contractual stuff got in the way of that.
Oh, interesting.
That's my guess. Is that all the actors' contracts stipulate being in a movie?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But this has just been fascinating. I mean, we've spoken ad nauseum at the road to get here, but I think it's interesting that Warner Brothers gave them $70 million to finish the movie. That's crazy. Yeah. And then it's going to debut March 18th, and it's 4 hours long, and it's rated R. So I mean, what other world could this exist in except this streaming? You know what I mean? Like 15 years ago or 10 years ago, there's just no avenue for this to exist.
Forget 10 years ago, 2 years ago.
Sure.
Right. I mean the specific set of circumstances that allowed for the Snyder version of Justice League to exist. Sure. It's like lightning in a bottle is more likely than this.
Right.
And again, I've said this before on the show, but I'm very grateful that we are not reactionaries on this podcast, because what you and I both said all along is there is a movie, it does exist, but it is not in finished form. So if it's going to come out and be releasable, they're going to have to work on it, but never say never. That has been like our, sort of like, if you come to us for a statement, this is what the press office would put out.
Yeah.
So I feel very gratified that we don't have to worry about like, hey, so it's coming out and we didn't say it, like we don't have to do any of that.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, I also, for the people who thought it was never going to happen, who would have ever called that it took $70 million for this, oddity to exist?
Yeah.
I don't think many people, I mean, I don't think that's ever happened before. So it definitely took some, groundbreaking sorts of decisions to make it exist as it does now.
Yeah. And my thought is 4 hours, rated R, very much. I mean, this is the truest expression of Zack Snyder's intent. This is aimed at a niche of a niche. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that's bad.
Yeah.
But I find it difficult to believe that you're going to pull in a whole bunch of people who weren't like already on board.
That's a good point. And also, they don't have to worry about box office.
Right.
So they can't even sort of measure what sort of success it is in a way. I mean, it's really about drawing people into your streaming service and keeping them with your streaming service.
I mean, clearly they've made the calculation that whatever it is, 70, 75, 80 million, whatever it ends up being, that'll end up being worth it in the long run. Mm-hmm. Based on, they're hoping it'll be some kind of an annuity. Mm-hmm. And I think they'll probably be right. I mean, look, a 4-hour release was never going to be in the cards theatrically.
No.
So was it always this long? Like, I mean, is he, because the latest thing is he roped in Jared Leto for
right.
for reshoots as the Joker, and I feel like that's new. Like that wasn't in the mix originally.
Right. Like he can sort of revamp a little bit. Sort of like we were talking about with Force Awakens, right? When Harrison Ford hurt his foot, they were able to take a step back and continue to refine.
Yeah, exactly.
So he took advantage of this, and I mean that positively. I mean, he was like, all right, well, I have the opportunity. What do I really want to do? Like, let's throw in the kitchen sink.
I mean, what I'll say is what I've said all along. I hope this is everything that people who've been waiting for it want.
Totally. I agree. Yeah.
The non-asshole people.
Yeah.
Hey, you got your wish much sooner than I would have ever thought possible, and in a much more complete form than I would have expected.
Mm-hmm.
So, hey, fantastic! It's amazing that the streaming age allows for that.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
I mean, I am very intrigued to see it.
Yeah, same.
I'm wondering. I'm curious because his original plan was for the movie to be, one of two parts.
Oh, yeah. Right. Oh, yeah, you're right. So maybe in a way he got to do it.
That's what I'm wondering. Like, so is this going to be a culmination of it? Like, when this comes out, do we have the Zack Snyder DC trilogy? Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, Justice League, beginning, middle, end. Because if that's the case, then maybe that's something. You know what I mean? Like, like you got something here, and it can stand on its own, and you can sort of look at how all the pieces hang together.
Yeah.
But that's coming soon. We may just end up talking about that on this show, Brian. I don't know.
You think? Do you think we'll find a week?
I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say we may make some time for that. Yeah. What else? Anything else of note?
Lastly, I mean, wow, these are a lot of stick pins in history here, but I don't know if you heard about this whole GameStop thing in Wall Street.
What
and Reddit?
You talk about a stick pin in history. This happened like 10 days ago, and it already feels like 50 years ago.
Yes. But I mean, that has been just fascinating on its own, right? And just seeing all these people react to that. But what, with our whole movie podcast, I was going to say surprisingly, unsurprisingly, I'm not so sure, but there's already a movie in the works of this situation that is not finished. But adding some credence to it, it's coming from Ben Mesrich, who wrote The Social Network, which of course that movie was based on, and he also wrote 21, which was also turned into a movie. So, I mean, he's obviously writes worthy material. I think he'll have a take that people will find interesting. It's just so funny. He proposed the book.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not even a book yet, obviously. And so he proposed the book, and in this very same week, Hollywood is like, we'll take that.
It's been so the book proposal is called The Antisocial Network,
right?
And MGM acquired it. Which Brian, am I wrong, or does it feel like MGM is next in line for something that would be covered by Wall Street Bets?
Right. That is kind of funny, by the way. I saw Blockbuster, their Twitter account was like, "Hey guys, like over here."
Well, AMC was another one of these Wall Street, but they had like $600 million of debt that instantly went away.
Yep.
Like overnight. Yep. It was George Bailey, It's a Wonderful Life.
Yes. Yeah, you mentioned that to me, and I'm like, that is absolutely perfect. Yes.
You picture the CEO of AMC like, "Merry Christmas, everybody."
Right. It's amazing.
Yeah, so. but what's funny is I mean, not funny. It's awful because a lot of people bought into this. I mean, a lot of people bought into the GameStop hype after it blew up.
Right. It's a really sort of complicated scenario, and it's definitely. I mean, there was a lot of money to be made at one point when they were inflating everything, and it was nice seeing those stories where people were like, "I bought 20 Nintendo Switches and gave them to hospitals," and people were paying off healthcare debt and things like that. But at the same time, it sort of required everyone to hold, and it was very risky. And some people don't have the money to do that, to do risk, and they shouldn't, right? And so it's become a little, I think some people who maybe went into it and didn't have the money to back up this sort of posturing, might have gotten hurt. Yeah,
and they bought high.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So this stock is in the dumpster. It's worth like $3 a share, and then this Reddit forum, Wall Street Bets, gets people in, and suddenly they artificially boost the price to. At one point, it was like $350 a share. And so you got people who are like, "Ooh, this rocket ride is never going to end. I'd better hop on," which is like buying Beanie Babies in 1997. And being like, I'm going to send my kids to college.
And it's just, it can't sustain. I mean, it's being inflated, right? And they were holding for so long because they were sort of betting against these hedge funds that were shorting the stock. So it was, we're going to hurt these guys until they have to pay it back for much, much more than they had bought in for, right?
Yeah.
But it's just this whole hold thing. It's just not everyone is equipped to do that. So...
Yeah, and I mean, the bigger problem to me, I mean, is like the whole, Wall Street being able to know when to buy, when to sell. I mean, it's if we think of it as a game, if we think of it as a casino, the house always wins.
Right.
So your average Joe might get ahead a little bit here or there, but it's never going to be more than what the house allows.
Right, and then, I mean, the whole Robinhood trading app, right, where they were sort of limiting how much people could buy.
Yeah, that's some bullshit right there, too, right?
Yeah, and like I said, we're in the middle of this story. I mean, who knows what's going to happen to that app, right?
Yeah.
And so, we're talking about a movie that's going to get made, and we don't even know, we might not even be in the middle of it yet. So I will look forward to it if we get something on par with the whole Fincher Social Network movie, because I thought that was really, really great.
Well, but I mean, MGM is not the only one on the hunt for this, because there's several, like HBO has their version, and Netflix has one with Noah Centineo. I don't know what that's going to look like. This reminds me of like fall of '93 when every network did an Amy Fisher movie.
Yes.
That's what this is.
Literally, every network had one.
You little leaguers, look up Amy Fisher. And look up networks.
I'm surprised there hasn't been a documentary. But we have the OJ thing. We got The Last Dance with the Bulls. The whole '90s, all this stuff. The Monica Lewinsky series that's coming up. That has to be on its way.
Yeah,
the Amy Fisher one.
It's a coming.
Yeah, but you can totally picture it though. It's sort of like this rock and roll takes on Wall Street, right? You got these goofy, Reddit people.
Yeah.
And all their names that I can't even say on this podcast. And like it's kind of a funny David Goliath, but like punk rock, goofy, geeky David. There's going to be all the different versions of this story, and each is going to be reflective of the outlet that produces it. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, here's a little story which I just found amusing. Donald Trump, former President Donald Trump, Brian, I don't know if you remember, he used to be president of this country.
That's right. I almost forgotten.
He has not tweeted in a month.
Yeah.
And it's really like you just wake up in the morning and you hear birds chirping and stuff. It's amazing. But he is also, in addition to being former president, he's also former SAG member Donald Trump.
I saw this, yeah.
I find this amusing that the country has not heard a peep out of him since he hightailed it out of Washington, but for the letter he sent to Gabriel Carteris,
right,
president of SAG-AFTRA. I just love the letter because, honest to God, somebody sent this to me and I truly assumed it was a joke.
Oh, really? I read it also, and yeah, no, I believed it.
He said, "Dear Ms. Carteris, I write to you today regarding the so-called disciplinary committee hearing aimed at revoking my union membership. Who cares?" I'm like, well, I think you care, right?
Apparently you do.
He says, "While I'm not familiar with your work,
right,
and Brian, I will not stand for disrespect to Andrea Zuckerman. Not as long as I live.
Yep.
Anyway, he says, I'm very proud of my work on movies such as Home Alone 2, Zoolander, and Wall Street Money Never Sleeps, and television shows including The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Saturday Night Live, and of course one of the most successful shows in television history, The Apprentice. Now, what makes this so amusing to me is his work on these movies was like they pointed a camera at him for a minute.
Yeah.
And he said a thing.
Yeah, Chris Columbus has recently said that the only reason he was in Home Alone 2 was they wanted to film in, the hotel, and so a stipulation was that he had to have a scene. So they basically have him like, oh yeah, the thing's over there, kid. And they were going to cut it out, but they said for some reason test audiences thought it was funny, so they kept it. It was just a complete like, okay. It wasn't like he was sought out or anything.
Up till 2 days ago, I would have said just replace him with Christopher Plummer.
Yes, I know.
In all future versions. Anyway, he
that would
goes
have been
on.
incredible, by the way, if they actually had done that.
Hilarious. And then he goes on. He says, so the backstory here is that SAG was going to have a meeting to determine whether he should be kicked out of the union for potentially inciting a riot and all that. And so he kind of got in ahead of that. And he says, this letter is to inform you of my immediate resignation. You've done nothing for me.
Yeah, that was what I remember about it. You've done nothing for me.
You cannot fire me. I quit.
Yeah.
Said former President Trump. And I just read this story because honestly, Brian, saying the phrase former President Trump it just feels so good saying that. Let's take a little break. Come back, talk through some spoilers. And we are back, and there have been more episodes of WandaVision since last we spoke.
Yeah, it's kind of funny with less and less movies coming out. I'm sort of enjoying, we're both watching this show, and they're not dropping them as a whole package. It's week to week, so we can kind of do our little run of WandaVision recaps.
Let me first address this, because this is deeply irksome to me. The number of people I'm seeing on social media who are just inconsolable over the fact that they have to wait a week between episodes.
Oh, that's
They're
funny.
like, I want it all at once. What are you doing? You're not telling the story. And Brian, have they forgotten how we used to watch TV? It wasn't that long ago.
Can you imagine giving them a cassette tape and be like, get to the song you want? I don't know which side it's on. I don't know how far you have to fast forward or rewind. You might get to the middle of the one you don't want.
I'm gonna leave you here for 10 minutes. I'm gonna get some coffee. You sort this out. You come back. They're just curled up on the floor, sobbing. And
then it's like the tape is actually broken and sticking out of the cartridge, and I just hand them a pencil. I'm like, here, you can use this to fix it, and then you walk away again.
I mean, I'm hearing people who are like, I want to watch it all at once, and I'm saying, all right, wait a month.
Right.
And watch it all at once. Like, this is not Lost or something where you got to wait 7 years for the story to make even a lick of sense.
That's a good point.
I mean, this is a month and a half that you can do it in week-long chunks or just wait and spend a day,
You know what I'm going to say, though? And it's not even in their defense, but I did mention this to my brother, who is choosing to wait.
Okay.
I do understand for people who are struggling with the first few episodes how the ability to binge this, if they could have watched 4 in a row,
sure,
they might have had an easier time getting into it. So it almost feels like a show that was made with the binge format, the way shows are sort of structured these days. However, they chose to release it in the old school format of week to week. And so I actually understood the people who were struggling with this, at least with the first 2 episodes, because it was really requiring you to hold its hand and trust it. But I will say there is something cool about, all right, like I got to stew with this for a week and sit on it and think about it and then look forward to what's up next. There's something kind of fun about being forced into that.
I think, as an analogy, like you look at Mandalorian, right?
Yeah.
Which very successfully did the weekly release thing. I think the wait was part of the experience.
Yeah.
Right? if like specifically the end of the last episode, that was much more meaningful having gone through the previous 10 weeks of going through the journey.
I agree. And that show, though, was sort of an old school, less binge-like show format where it became so almost like Incredible Hulk, like who's he going to help this week? And there is an overarching mission, but I wasn't thinking about it much because the show wasn't thinking about it much.
That's true.
Right.
Well, the last time we talked, my recollection is you had only seen the first two.
Had I not seen 3? Okay.
I had seen the third one because I saw it early.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I could be wrong. I may be misremembering. But regardless, we're up to episode 5 now. We're all caught up. So we're at a little over the halfway point of this show now.
And we should say at this point, I mean, just spoilers. Like you just expect. I mean, if we're talking this far ahead,
if you're here listening to this, yes,
yeah.
We're very much This is now the mission statement of the show is coming into focus.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. I look forward to watching it every week. I have a routine now where like Thursday night I go into Twitter and I mute certain phrases. WandaVision. Like I'm just like, because people are assholes on social media. There's also that. People be like, because the episode drops at midnight. People be getting on at 12:42. I can't believe this happened in this episode. Like, guys, patience.
Right.
So that's like literally lately I'm having to watch it twice because I have to watch it before like it gets spoiled for me because I can't stay off social media, Brian. I just
you gave me a flashback actually to when Back to the Future 3 came out, and I was on a playground. And I mean, now I would have to see it opening weekend, right? But I remember I didn't, and I had to wait, and I was going to see it whenever my family took me because I was 10. And I remember someone on the playground being like, "And there's a flying train." And it's funny because it wasn't like it was all around me. I could have been like, shut up, and told whatever kid on the playground to not spoil things for me. But I didn't have social media that weekend going, "And there's a flying train sniff." You know what I mean? Like I don't know. It was kind of nice.
Missed those days.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like yesterday morning at like 10 or something. I got done with my morning class and I just put it on, and my kids are like, "Wait, are you watching it already?" I'm like, "Yeah, shut up." Go to your get on your Zoom call. You know,
I'm the dad. I can do this.
So I ended up watching it twice yesterday, the 5th episode.
Yeah.
But I'm 100% loving what they're doing. I'm really like, it started out very clever, but the pastiche of the sitcom tropes and stuff was like, oh, that's really neat. But the way they're now weaving these two stories together, it's so clever, and I love that it exists within the Marvel universe.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I agree, and it feels like the perfect story you could drag out into a series. It doesn't have to be just a 2-hour sort of story. I like how patient it was, right? Where we almost get an entire episode that isn't about this thing. It just has these little clues that something's wrong. Yeah, and it's taken us till 3 gives us a tease at the end, but we don't even know what's going on until episode 4.
Yeah, right? which episode 4 brings us in the middle of the blip.
That was pretty cool.
Pretty neat. I mean, because Spider-Man played that for laughs. Mm-hmm. Far From Home, if you remember.
Yeah.
And you realize, well, if you're in it, that's pretty friggin' horrifying.
Yeah, yeah.
Because she's like, she ceased to exist, she comes back, and her mom is dead.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
she doesn't know what happened, but everyone else around her knows what's going on. Yeah.
She, by the way, Tiana Paris, who plays Monica Rambeau, she is great.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I'm like, because that character is a superhero in her own right. I'm like, I already get like superhero vibes off her. She's great. Mm-hmm. And then they bring back Randall Park. I
love that guy.
he's so good in everything. He's good in everything. And Kat Dennings too, who we haven't seen since like 2013. I love that the MCU has such a deep bench of characters to pull from, you know?
Yeah. And I'm sure none of them are like, oh, darn, you know, getting called back into the game.
Totally. Right. That was my thought. To me, what's been really interesting is I get on social media, I get on Facebook, whatever, and I see people from across the spectrum who are just enthralled by this show. Mm-hmm. You know, little kids, aunties, everybody talking about it. And I'm like, I don't know of any other pop culture phenomenon like this.
Right.
Like the Marvel brand at this point that's able to do something like this.
I agree. I've said it so many times. But the fact that your youngest kids can be into this, and my parents can be into this.
Right.
I don't remember the last time something like that's been.
Yeah. This latest episode, number 5, starts really breaking down the barrier between the sitcom world and the real world.
Yeah.
For Paul Bettany, there's this great moment where Paul Bettany as Vision confronts Wanda, and they're like at odds.
Yeah.
And I mean, it is amazing work by Paul Bettany.
He's so good in this, yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, I was giving him props for the comedic stuff he was doing.
Yeah.
Right? And then we run the gamut from there to here where he's like, I don't remember anything before, whatever this is. Mm-hmm. And it's like scary,
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. He's got the stoic thing down. And then, this whole confusion thing. And then, being able to go, he would have existed perfectly fine in an old 50s sitcom with the physical comedy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Wait, can I ask you a question before I forget? Speaking of Monica Rambeau.
Yeah.
What was that? She gives like a funny reaction when Captain Marvel is mentioned. What was that about? Do you have any clue to that?
Well, if I were to guess, she probably blames her for her mom getting cancer. That was my thought.
Okay.
Either that or I mean, here's the thing. I don't think we need to assume that Carol Danvers never came back to Earth between leaving in Captain Marvel and coming back in Endgame. Mm-hmm. I've never assumed that. I assumed she probably came back and forth.
Right.
So maybe there was a falling out between them. Mm-hmm. But regardless, we know she is going to be in Captain Marvel 2.
Monica Rambeau.
Monica is.
Okay.
I'm assuming Captain Marvel will also be in Captain Marvel 2. I'm guessing.
Yeah, okay.
One hopes. But that's obviously they're just seeding something that's going to happen.
Yeah. Do you think, by the way, Elizabeth Olsen has said that they're going to have a big Luke Skywalker moment, a la The Mandalorian? The way that they sort of, Captain Marvel, the way they mentioned her, I was like, oh, is that going to be you think the big reveal at some point?
That almost seems too small. I mean, if you're going to make a allusion to the Luke Skywalker thing, it feels like it needs to be bigger, right?
And I was trying to think who that would be. I guess
I don't think it was the end of this one.
No. Right. And I was like, well, it's funny. Skipping ahead to that, yeah. When it showed the back of the person's head and the hair was gray, I was like, oh, is that Captain America?
Oh, sure.
Like old man Steve,
right.
But no.
Well, speaking of that, did you hear the rumors like a few weeks ago that they're roping him back in, Chris Evans?
I did hear that, yeah.
He has quickly denied it, but denials for Marvel mean nothing.
Right.
Everyone denies being in a Marvel movie. Like they'll be done filming. They'll be like, no, I don't know what you're talking about.
Right. It puts them in kind of a odd situation, right, where you're forced to lie.
Yeah. Exactly. But it seems like they want him to be kind of a pinch hitter like Robert Downey was for a little while after his original contract was done.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But the end of this one, it's meant to, from the back of the head, notwithstanding the old Steve Rogers thing, you're meant to think of Aaron Taylor Johnson. Mm-hmm. And it turns out to be Evan Peters.
Yes.
So it's not this Quicksilver, it's that Quicksilver.
Yeah, not the Disney Quicksilver, the Fox, even though those are one and the same these days.
The Fox Quicksilver, who's now owned by Disney.
Yeah, I love it that he's playing like the spunky uncle.
Right, he's
in
Tom
this,
Hanks.
80s sitcom. Yeah,
in Family Ties.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, I love the fact that I was thinking about this. It works if you know the X-Men movies. Mm-hmm. that's how I viewed it. My kids were like, oh, it's that Quicksilver. But if you don't, which a reasonable assumption is that not everybody watching this is going to know those, it works as just a meta joke where Darcy's like, wait, she recast Pietro?
Yeah.
It works.
Sort of like Becky on Roseanne.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right? It works on that level.
Yeah.
So I'm very intrigued by that because the thought I had was this is actually, I think Neil deGrasse Tyson. It's a smart,
Right. Which makes you think of Jordan Peele, of course.
right?
Yeah.
It's a way for Disney to add value to this defunct X-Men universe.
Oh, that's funny. I didn't even think of that.
Right? Because
I'm not in business.
because obviously the MCU is going to redo the X-Men. It's going to be the MCU X-Men. We know that's coming.
Right.
But they're sitting on this box full of VHS tapes in the garage with all these X-Men movies in them.
Yeah.
And it's like, when you think about it, this is a way of saying that all still counts.
Yep.
It's not defunct.
Good call. That's a good call.
I'll bet you more people will watch Dark Phoenix because of the end of this episode than watched it in theaters. All because Quicksilver's in it for like 10 minutes or whatever he's in it for. It's pretty smart, though. That's that was the thought that occurred to me. I was like, they don't want to crap on these movies that they own, so how do you give them renewed value, right? There you go.
Yeah.
Problem solved.
Well, and then the Doctor Strange movie coming up, right, has to do with multiverses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they're sort of introducing the concept.
Doctor Strange and Spider-Man, the third Spider-Man, those are both going to be... In fact, I'm assuming they're connected because Doctor Strange is going to be in the third Spider-Man movie.
Ah, I see.
So I would not be surprised if WandaVision leads to Doctor Strange, leads to Spider-Man. Or WandaVision leads to Spider-Man, leads to Doctor Strange, whatever the chronology is. But I would not be surprised if all three are connected.
Right.
Because we know, and we talked about it before, the third Spider-Man, they're like, hey, anybody who's ever been in one of these things, guy who played Spider-Man in the Electric Company, come on.
Wow, good ball.
Join the party. That's what they're doing. So it's all brand management. Let's be real. This is like high-level corporate brand management.
Well, be that as it may, and it's still cool.
Yes.
Which was a plus. Right?
It works.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think with this episode, I mean, the most interesting part for me was when like quote unquote real Wanda leaves the anomaly.
Yeah, I loved that.
And she's here was my thought. She was acting like Magneto. Because what she does, where she like makes all the people point their guns at like the that's like straight up what Magneto does in the first X-Men movie in 2000.
That's wow. Good call. I did not make that connection.
And if in the comic books, Magneto is her dad.
Oh, see, I don't have all this in my head, so
I have useless things in my head.
Well, this is the perfect place to put them out because I'm sure I'm enjoying this. I'm sure everyone else is too.
It's funny. I just this week I was telling you this. I wrote an article for the paper looking at WandaVision Easter eggs and just like I was drawing connections to the comic books. And I had this thought. I'm like, man, I'm writing an article in the newspaper talking about like Marvel Comics from 1985.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I'm in a WandaVision episode because this feels,
right.
But she came out of the anomaly and she had her accent. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, so there's something happening here, like to her as well.
Right.
So I'm firmly of the belief, and it seems like nobody's saying it, or if they are, it's not enough. But it feels to me like Catherine Hahn is manipulating her. That's my suspicion.
Yeah.
Because I think when the dog dies, I think she did it.
I saw that afterwards. I did not think about that, but I like that.
That makes the most sense to me.
Right.
Because she does it, and then the kids are like, "Oh, but you can like bring anybody back, right?" And then that's what prompts Wanda to unconsciously bring back her brother.
Right. Right.
Feels like she's being manipulated by Catherine Hahn.
Yeah.
That's my guess.
I love, even just talking about this right now, I'm like eager for the next episode. I really like what's unfolding.
Well, in episode 4, there's the bit where Randall Park is writing on the whiteboard, and it's all the like theories about what's going on. I was like, that's like Twitter right now.
That's funny.
All the like, does this mean this? And it's just that's yeah. What's funny is I don't remember what we said the last time, so I don't remember. I have no way of guessing how completely out of date everything we said was in that conversation.
Right. You mean predictions?
Yeah, we were probably like saying all kinds of crazy stuff. Like,
oh, sure.
We'll see. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's there's 4 more, 6, 7, 8, 9, 4 more episodes. So
okay.
So I expect we'll have a few more conversations about that.
Oh, absolutely! I can't wait.
Well, I think that's a good place to wrap up this discussion. What do you think?
Yeah, man, this was fun.
Covered some ground.
Yeah, it's been quite a bit. A lot going on.
We went all over the place. So we'll be back soon with our next commentary track, which is still on track to be Tremors.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Looking forward to that, and then hopefully we can also do Silence of the Lambs before too much longer.
Mm-hmm.
So before we go, Brian, anything you want to hype up?
Yeah, Puppy Dog Pals. We just had our Valentine's Day episode air, which was a lot of fun, and the train never stops. Episodes keep dropping on Disney Plus, and Disney Junior. I don't know why. It always takes me a minute to think of those 3 things for some reason.
As for me, you can find me online, and you can find me at Twitter at Zacky's Corner. That's ZAKIS Corner. It's also my website, justadded.com. I'm also at the San Francisco Chronicle and IGN. Like I said, look for my Remembrance of Dustin Diamond and WandaVision Easter eggs. Those are at the Chronicle. And I also I did a piece for IGN last week talking about why I'm not a fan of all the pandemic-themed shows that have come out, like in the midst of COVID, to
right.
remind you of the horrible time we're in.
Did you watch, by the way, the Doug Liman one?
I did watch that.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was okay.
I had a passing interest because I like heist movies, and I think Doug Liman tends to deliver interesting things, but I just couldn't be brought to sit down and turn it on.
Yeah, it's one of those you appreciate the craft and the let's put on a show. Like, well, this is all while we're in the midst of this, but the movie itself didn't do much for me. And then there was a show called Connecting.
Oh yeah. I've read about this. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it's like a whole sitcom about people talking on Zoom, right?
Right.
And it was so friggin' stupid, Brian, because it's it's these people who have no business talking to each other in a social context. You know what I mean?
Huh. Okay.
Like in a workspace, you sort of get like you have like the old guy and there's this person and well, it's like you're all here because you got to work together, so you're forced to socialize, right? Mm-hmm. But the idea, like, oh, here's a pandemic, so hey, let's just make time to talk on Zoom. Mm-hmm. It's like, come on, let's be real. Y'all ain't gonna be hanging out. You know what I mean?
That's funny.
So that to me is a barrier to entry, and again, it's just like I'm living on Zoom from sun up to sundown.
Yeah.
I don't want that consuming my off time too. So yeah. America felt the same way. So anyway, I wrote a thing for IGN, digging into some of that, which people might find of interest. Mm-hmm. As always, please, folks, go to iTunes. I haven't seen many new reviews come up, so I'm going to say again, please do it for the children. For the children. Please leave a review, leave a star rating. Every little bit helps. And, of course, if you have any questions or comments for us, you can email us at moviefilmpodcast at gmail.com, or you can message us on Facebook, facebook.com/moviefilmpodcast. And, we'll maybe we'll answer you. Maybe we won't, but you'll never know. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Wayne Gretzky, Michael Scott.
That's right. So, on behalf of my partner, Brian Hall, my name is Aki Hassan. This has been Movie Film 217. Thank you, everybody, for listening, and we will catch you next time.
Welcome, friends, it's the Movie Film Podcast. Movie Film Podcast, enjoy the show. Zachy and Brian are talking about Radio.